Hey Global Village, what's up? Okay, today I feel compelled to talk about Israel's bombing of Qatar and their attempt to eliminate the Hamas diplomats. Um, Now, I think when I make these videos, it's basically because I just feel kind of compelled to call a spade, and we just reach a level of absurdity that just leaves me feeling, I don't know, almost like wondering what the hell this reality I live in is actually all about. So, anyway, as we know, Israel attempted to kill all of the Hamas representatives who were ostensibly in negotiations with Israel to uh, create a ceasefire, release hostages on both sides of the fence, and bring some much needed relief to the Palestinian people who are being pushed beyond all expectations of what we would expect humans to be able to bear. Um, but anyway, as we know, Israel are not interested in an actual ceasefire, and they really only use diplomatic talks as an opportunity to get a whole group of people together so they can actually kill all of them. They have a history of doing that now, so it's really not surprising that they did it or tried to do it again. The unusual thing, of course, is they actually chose to bomb Qatar, which is a strong US ally. So this, in that sense, was a new kind of escalation because it signaled that there is really no country, especially in the Middle East, that is safe from military action if they believe it can achieve their objectives. So, as we know, Qatar condemned this in the strongest terms possible, and they called a summit of, I guess, related countries in the global south. I think there was some 50 odd nations represented, and the idea being that there was going to be material outcomes here, and that Israel would pay a genuine price for such an outrageous attack. So now that summit has been completed, we can actually now look at what those material outcomes are. And let me just cut to the chase here. Those material outcomes are precisely zero. Nothing has come of this summit. Certainly no military task force has been put together. No commitment to support the resistance in Palestine in any shape or form. No economic sanctions of any measure are being taken against Israel. So at the end of the day, in terms of what actual repercussions Israel are going to pay for this, besides large amounts of hot air and empty rhetorical condemnation, they've suffered no cost or price at all. So I think we need to just call a spade here and understand that Qatar, being strongly aligned with America, and of course they host the largest air military base outside of NATO, that they, American military base, they are in simply no position to respond. Obviously, they have, they don't have the sort of military chops or experience to be able to do anything material in terms of retaliation against Israel. But more to the point, were they to do so, it would represent a catastrophic reshaping of their relationship with America. Because at the end of the day, it's America that calls the shots as to whether Israel would actually dare to do something like that. It is completely absurd to believe that Israel did something like this against a country that's so strongly related to America without first actually letting America know that they were going to do this. So Trump knew. He absolutely did know. Now, certainly I would doubt it was his idea, because there's no real upside for America to Israel doing this. But I believe that Israel put a case forward to America to say why they thought this was a good idea, and that they could have an opportunity here to eliminate the last vestiges of the sort of Hamas representatives living outside of Gaza, and that this in effect probably they suggested would represent a way to kind of end the conflict in Palestine. I mean, in fact, nothing could be further from the truth. But Donald Trump probably thought, "Oh yeah, okay, let's roll the dice," and and it turned out that they were unsuccessful in eliminating the majority of people that they wanted to kill. So that meant they lost the gambit, and it just ended up looking bad for everyone. But certainly, it didn't represent Israel stepping across a line, because, as I said, Israel and America had agreed on this before they were going to do it. And that is why we are seeing what we are seeing now, which is nothing happening. So yeah, let's be honest about the Arab Gulf states here. They are all deeply in bed with America, especially like Saudi Arabia, the United Emirates. These countries have such a powerfully strong relationship with America that they're not willing to compromise that for the Palestinian people, because it is purely an issue of morality. It is not an economic issue. At the end of the day, if Israel completely genocide the people in Gaza, which it looks like they are very much on track now for doing, then this isn't going to cause a material economic impact on the Arab nations. What it does signal, though, is that Israel continued to become more emboldened to steal more land. So that is probably the tension that the Arab nations now understand, that the balance of power is just slipping away from them to such a point that they are becoming completely neutered. And unfortunately, this performative summit, which had so many nations, demonstrating their moral outrage and their condemnation, really only further demonstrated, ultimately, through the actual complete lack of material actions, just how impotent these nations are, and that it really is just business as usual. I don't know. This is just breathtakingly disappointing to me. We cannot expect any nation, whether West, Middle East, Global South, no one's going to do anything here, which is why I believe, unfortunately, the people of Gaza are doomed. It is absolutely terrible to watch what is happening play out here, and feeling that there is nothing that any of us can really do to stop this. Not as individuals, not even... I know the flotilla is making an incredible and heroic effort here to do what our governments will not do. But ultimately, the flotilla will also fail, because it will. I think what will happen here is that everyone will just get captured. There'll be all sorts of countries becoming very upset at how their people are being treated and that kind of thing. This is an absolute PR disaster for Israel. Don't get that wrong. Israel has never been a more hated country than it is now, and they're probably never putting that genie back in the bottle. And I do think in the long run this spells the demise of the Zionist project. But this will be an outcome that will not be realised for perhaps another 50 years, probably beyond my own lifetime. before we will really see the Israeli state significantly diminished by its own hand, rather than by any act of revolution through any other countries uniting and actually putting serious pressure on Israel, whether that be economic or even military. That's not going to happen. But Israel is going to become such a pariah nation that it will effectively be significantly reduced economically. I think what is going to happen is that America is on the decline, and I think at some point America is going to stop pumping billions of dollars into Israel. Israel is going to suddenly find itself economically more and more isolated, less supported by other countries in terms of tourism, in terms of diplomatic and cultural and even economic relationships between many other countries. These things are all going to continue to erode. Furthermore, Israel will find itself a nation comprised mostly of extremists, extreme Zionists, and it's going to become less and less representative of Judaism outside of, extremist Zionism. So it's not looking good for Israel in the long run. But right now, Israel thinks things have never gone so well, that many of the leadership believe they're doing exactly what they've always dreamed of, grabbing more land, becoming, expanding the Zionist project. But there will be a massive price to pay, but they're just too drunk on their bloodlust to be able to see it. But this is not going to help out the people of Palestine, certainly not the people of Gaza, and quite likely the West Bank is also, their days are also very much numbered. Anyway, this is just all I wanted to say. I just want to express my contempt, my disappointment for how all the nations that are using this constant rhetorical condemnation, but completely failing to back it up with anything that could even be construed to be remotely material. And this is how things are just going to continue as the genocide progresses. All right, Bendy out.